All right.
Hello?
Yeah, it is manageable. Barrister Emeka. Please, what are your full names, if I should ask you?
Hello? Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes. Or do you
Okay,
want me to
fine.
call you when you get
Um,
home?
I'm Barrister Emeka Emekesri. I'm the lead attorney, the solicitor for Indigenous People of Biafra. What happened was, for many years, the Biafran struggle had been suffering a lot of setbacks because it was not anchored upon the rule of law. So, when Wazirike and his group started, they made a lot of impact, created awareness, much awareness. We remember that about 2004, Wazirike and his group were able to ground Nigeria. Really, that is for a whole day Nigeria stood still. Everywhere was grounded. Wazirike made much impact. Along the line, the movement or the struggle had suffered some setbacks. So after many years, it was clear to us that we needed to anchor the struggle upon the rule of law, because we felt that the method they were using, though it was good, it was good in the sense that there was much awareness of the Biafran independence struggle. Much awareness was created. The impact was not well. I mean, the results. We wanted to get somewhere, but because it was not anchored upon the rule of law, people were afraid to join the struggle. I mean, people, the elites, the intellectuals, the elders, the politicians, the academia, they were afraid to join the struggle because they saw the struggle like things, people, maybe the unenlightened people struggling for a thing. So now, when it dawned on us, I was in the Federal High Court in Abuja in 2007 to advocate for the release of Wazirike and the late Oboli of Obosi, Chief Ike Agu, the senior advocate of Nigeria, led us in that time when we appeared in the court. We wanted to use Wazirike as a rallying point to start engaging Nigeria in a legal battle for the self-determination of the Biafras. But Wazirike disappointed us and wrote a letter to us and stopped us from coming to court and said he didn't want us again to help him or to advocate for his release. So we now left him. He rejected us. So when he rejected us, we now went back to the drawing board. Few years later, I relocated from Nigeria to London. So when I now relocated to London, I now repackaged the same legal method of reaching out, of bringing this struggle to the limelight using the law. So that was how the dream of having a human rights organization came up. So eventually, the human rights organization called Bilie Human Rights Initiative was born. Now, it's a human rights organization. Initially, when I suggested it to some people who were working with me, they rejected and said they were not Nigerians. Why should we register a human rights organization in Nigeria and then struggle for Biafran independence using the Nigerian law? They said they are not Nigerians. I found out that they were not educated in the sense that I said they were not knowledgeable. Let me use the word knowledgeable. They were educated, but not knowledgeable in human rights law and issues about citizenship, nationality, and the indigenous identity of a people. So I found out that they were not understanding what I was doing. So I went to Nigeria and registered the human rights organization, which is called Bilie Human Rights Initiative. Like every person knows, Biafra is not yet a sovereign nation. Biafra is not yet a country. Biafra is not a legal entity and therefore cannot sue or be sued unless in a representative capacity. Therefore, Bilie Human Rights Initiative now sued on behalf of Biafra. But before Bilie could sue, Bilie needed to have the nexus, that is the local standing. For Bilie to represent Biafra, there must be local standing. And the people that could furnish the local standing are the elders of the land based on the Nigerian law. Nigerian law recognizes the customary law, the Sharia law, the statute law, and case law. So you need to anchor upon the Nigerian law, and the only Nigerian law available to us was the use of customary law, which provides that the elders of the land have the right to govern the people of the land under customary law. This is the only way we could anchor the Biafran struggle upon the rule of law without committing treason, because Nigeria was expecting us to violate the law and then they will go after us and arrest us for treason or treasonable felony. For anything you do in Nigeria, anything you settle without following the due process of law or following the law, the rule of law, which also includes the customary law, Sharia law, statute law, case law. If you do anything that is contrary to law, you may run into trouble. And I knew that Nigerians were expecting, or they thought that we would run into trouble. But they were surprised when we now used the customary law in accordance with Nigerian constitution and established the government of Biafra, called the customary government of Indigenous People of Biafra, headed by the Supreme Council of Elders. When the elders now signed the legal instrument authorizing the Human Rights Initiative to sue Nigeria, and these documents were served upon the occupants of Aso Rock, then Nigeria now knew that these people were serious. They saw the people that signed the papers. These people were people of high integrity. His Royal Majesty, the Honorable Justice Ezozobu, is a leader. He signed it. Dr. Dozie Kedife, he signed it. General Joe Achuze, he signed it. And so many other elders, they now signed and authorized the suit to be instituted between Biafra and Nigeria. And that was how the case started. It was not Nnamdi Kanu. It was not Nnamdi Kanu at all. Nnamdi Kanu is not a lawyer. Nnamdi Kanu is not a lawyer to know the rule of law, how to anchor a struggle upon the rule of law. He's not a lawyer. What happened? He was handling the.
Barrister.
He was handling the Radio Biafra.
Barrister, let me come in there. Because this morning, the Honorable Chief Ike said IPOB was formed in Nigeria, not in London. So are you not saying that IPOB started in London, or what the man said, is accurate?
No. What I said was Bilie Human Rights Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
The IPOB is not an organization. IPOB is all the Biafrans, all the Biafrans all over the world, the remnants of the Biafrans. So it was in Nigeria that the elders, IPOB was formed by the Supreme Council of Elders. All of us gathered together. Of course, being the lawyer, I am the one who advised them that the remnants of the Biafrans, under the law, they are called Indigenous People of the land, the remnants that were not consumed in the war. I explained this to the elders, that the remnants of people who are not consumed in the war are the remnants, they are the Indigenous People of the land. And therefore, that Biafra should be called Indigenous People of Biafra. Yes, I advised them. That name, I gave it to them. It was my advice as a lawyer, because I know the rule of law about Indigenous people's rights. I told the elders that the Biafra should be called Indigenous People of Biafra. That was my advice to the elders, which they accepted. So it was not like someone forming an organization, but it is a name given to the whole Biafra nation. It's not just like forming an organization. So this is a name to define all the Biafrans. And so the elders now, the Supreme Council of Elders, were now called the Supreme Council of Elders of Indigenous People of Biafra.
So at what point, because when the coordinators of IPOB came on the radio, he said that Nnamdi dissolved that IPOB. That is the one you're talking about. He dissolved the Council of Elders. How true is that?
Okay, fine. What happened when we now started moving Bilie Human Rights Initiative representing Indigenous People of Biafra in court because Indigenous People of Biafra are not legal entity. So it happened that at that time, Nnamdi Kanu was handling the Radio Biafra. Remember, Radio Biafra had been broadcasting right from the days of Wazirike. So when we now started the Bilie Human Rights Initiative,
who was the one who was in charge of Radio Biafra at that time during the days of Wazirike?
No, Radio Biafra. No, the person who the brainchild of Radio Biafra is Sam Ume.
Okay.
Sam Ume is the brainchild of Radio Biafra. Sam Ume, not Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
But I was not with them. I wasn't part of them because I don't know anything about media work. But when they started inviting me to their studio, when I went to their studio, I met Sam Ume, Nnamdi Kanu, Egemba, Mwada Manachi, a few others. There were about 5 or so I met in their studio. And I saw that they were broadcasting, but at that time, we hadn't started. So when they now saw that Bilie has started, they now started to work with us. That is, all of us started working together as a group because all of them joined Bilie. Nnamdi Kanu registered as a member of Bilie in 2012. In fact, I think on the 6th of October 2012. I don't have it in my head now, but I have his file. He registered. I have his file with me. If I go to his file now, I will know the day he registered as a member of Bilie Human Rights Initiative. So now we continue moving as a body. Bilie Human Rights, representing Indigenous People of Biafra. All of us were Indigenous People of Biafra, all the Biafrans all over the world. And we had our meetings in different places. So here in London, Indigenous People of Biafra were meeting. And we were contributing money to run the Radio Biafra. We are contributing money given to Nnamdi Kanu to be able to finance the Radio Biafra as little as we could afford. It was very difficult then. So it was difficult. So but after some time, Nnamdi Kanu started broadcasting something that is unethical and started behaving in a way that people started questioning his conduct, his character, his behavior, things he was doing. And a member of the Radio Biafra called Engineer Steve Ekpa wrote a petition against him and brought it to the General House of the Indigenous People of Biafra in London. And then he was asked to come and give explanation. Many allegations were made against him. Some immoral allegations, some allegations of unaccountability or the money he collected from people, and so many other things. And so we issued summons, and I mean, when I say summons, I mean customary summons, invitation. We issued an invitation to him to come to the general meeting of Indigenous People of Biafra to explain himself. But he didn't come to explain himself. And he ran away. We complained to the elders. The elders gave him more time. The elders tried to bring him to order. He refused to listen to the elders, and the elders excommunicated him. Elders excommunicated him by a disclaimer and public notice published all over the world. They excommunicated him after they had tried their best to bring him to order. Instead of him repenting, he started insulting the elders. So they excommunicated him. And that excommunication was signed by Dr. Dozie Ikedife. So instead of Nnamdi Kanu to repent and appease the elders and ask for forgiveness, he now took the name that is in court. Already the name in court is Indigenous People of Biafra versus Nigerian government. The name is already in court since 2012. So after about 2 years, Nnamdi Kanu took this name when he was excommunicated. He took this name and went to the company's house in London and registered this name as a private limited liability company called Indigenous People of Biafra Limited. And then we screamed and said, why should you register our name as a private limited liability company? The limited liability company is owned by 2 people, Uche Mefo and Nnamdi Kanu. They bought the shares, 50% each. So they used our name, Biafra name, as a private limited liability company. And so when we shouted and criticized him, he now registered under what we called Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, limited by guarantee. Meanwhile, that word IPOB was created by Dr. Dozie Ikedife in 2013. It was Dozie Ikedife that gave you the acronym IPOB. So Nnamdi Kanu now took this name and registered it as a private limited liability company. They limited by shares and then limited by guarantee. And then came to the world on the air in the radio, and now that he is now the leader and the founder of Indigenous People of Biafra, and that he has dissolved the Elders Council, that the elders are saboteurs, that they are APC, they are Buhari, they are Boko Haram, and they are Muslims. He started insulting the elders and turning people away, and said that the elders had compromised, they had become traitors, they had become so many he was so many unpredictable names he was calling the elders of the land. So at that stage we now say, okay, fine, that means he doesn't want to be under authority of elders. He now started going all over the world. Meanwhile, we were the people who sent him to the first invitation that a country gave to Biafra. That was Australia. Australia invited Biafra, invited the Supreme Council of Elders, invited Indigenous People of Biafra to pay a visit to the Australian government, and we contributed money and purchased flight tickets for Nnamdi Kanu. And I went home, Dr. Dozie Kedife and His Royal Majesty Ezo Zobo, the Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Ezo, they signed the papers which I gave to Nnamdi Kanu to take to Australia. Then we contributed money and bought tickets for Nnamdi Kanu, and we told him to go to Australia and meet with Brother Okezie in Australia and a few other Biafrans in Australia, to go with him to the meeting, to meet with the Australian government and discuss on behalf of Biafra. So Nnamdi Kanu and Okezie Modestus and the others in Australia were the first delegates we sent to discuss with a sovereign nation on behalf of Biafra. And that was the first journey we sent him to undertake on our behalf. And that was how he now grew wings. He came back. He didn't want to humble himself anymore, and now he started moving from place to place, using the radio, telling people to now contribute money to him. And since he had already registered a company called Indigenous People of Biafra Limited, then he now opened his own account, private account. We are now paying money into his account, and he was running it as his own private thing. Fine. I don't have anything, I don't have any complaints against that. It's a private company. He has right to run his company. Anyhow he wants to run his company, let him run his company. But he should not use the name of Biafra, making people think that the Indigenous People of Biafra Limited is the same Indigenous People of Biafra in Biafra land. That is wrong. It's not true. Indigenous People of Biafra Limited, which is a company registered in England as a limited liability company, it's not the same people that are in the Federal High Court to wear it as Indigenous People of Biafra in suit number FHC/OW/CS/192/2012, 2013. These people in the court are not the same people that form the company called Indigenous People of Biafra Limited. So the limited liability company owned by Nnamdi Kanu in England is different from the people in Biafra land. That's what we are saying. So let his own lawyer come and tell me whether the people that are in Biafra, whether they are shareholders in the company he registered in England. So there are two different things. So right now, Indigenous People of Biafra that Nnamdi Kanu is leading is the company he registered. The companies, he has companies called Indigenous People of Biafra Limited and Indigenous People of Biafra Limited by guarantee. These are his companies, and these are the companies he's the owner. He is the owner, he is the founder, he is the director of these companies, and we are not questioning his directorship or ownership of his company. Yeah, he is the owner of the companies, yes, but he is not the leader of Indigenous People of Biafra who are in the Federal High Court or where in Biafra land. He is not the leader. The leader is His Royal Majesty, His Lordship, the Honorable Justice Ezo Zobo, the Chief Justice. He is the leader. He is the one who signed the papers that we filed in court. And his deputy is Dr. Dozie Kedife. The Secretary General is General Joe Achuzie. And all the dignitaries, all the elder statesmen who signed the papers that we served on Aso Rock. We served these documents on Aso Rock, and Aso Rock saw the signatories, the people that signed these papers are in court, and that's why Aso Rock now came and put up their defense. That's why Federal Republic of Nigeria, Federal Government of Nigeria hired their own lawyer to come and defend themselves. So the case is on now, very, very hot, and Nigeria has no defense. It's a very, very strong case against Nigeria. And Nnamdi Kanu now wrote a letter. Nnamdi Kanu's group wrote a petition to the federal government to revoke the certificate of incorporation of the Human Rights Initiative that represents the claimants in court. So that's why I said, give me your email address. Let me forward all these documents to you. Nnamdi Kanu wrote his group.
Yeah, but no, what you're saying
Oh,
is
wrote
what you're saying right now is
yes, wrote.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so he now wrote, Nnamdi Kanu's group now wrote petition to the federal government of Nigeria to revoke the certificate of incorporation of the human rights organization that is championing this case in the Federal High Court. Because he knew that if you destroy that human rights organization, since Biafra is not yet a legal entity, then the case will no longer stand in court. So that's why he attacked the foundation of that case, attacked the human rights organization. And then we replied. He when he wrote this petition, he copied the Federal High Court judge, the judge of the Federal High Court. He copied in the lawyer, the Nigerian lawyers, Professor Yemi Akinse George, the Nigerian lawyers, and he wrote the petition to Corporate Affairs Commission Abuja. Now the government now served us the copy of the petition. And then we replied to the petition. Meanwhile, when he now wrote this petition, he went on air and told the whole world that the Human Rights Initiative has been dissolved. And they were clapping, his members were clapping for him, that he has succeeded in dissolving Bile Human Rights Initiative, that Bile has died. And they were happy. But when we got the copy of the petition, we replied the petition immediately. We filed a reply to Corporate Affairs Commission. We filed a reply to Federal High Court, and our reply destroyed their petition, because when we made our reply, the government, the Federal High Court, and the Corporate Affairs Commission, they found out that the petition of Nnamdi Kanu's group had no merit at all. It's just useless petition, so they threw it away, and that's why Bile is still working strong. And in the meantime, Bile Human Rights Initiative was now admitted into the United Nations and the United Nations ECOSOC. Right now, Bile has 3 seats in the United Nations ECOSOC. We have 3 seats in the United Nations in New York, seat in Geneva, and in Vienna. 3 seats in the United Nations. And we are now sending, they have now advised us to send permanent representatives to the United Nations, which the list is coming out by tomorrow. By tomorrow, we'll now furnish the list of our United Nations permanent representatives. And the struggle now has gone to a different level, where we now play international politics with the world community, with the international community. So the movement is forward, is going forward. But Nnamdi Kanu's problem is that he said he wants to be the leader of Biafra. And that's why he now came up and said he had dissolved the elders, the Council of Elders. He had dissolved the Council of Elders. How can he dissolve the elders, Council of Elders? It is abomination in Biafra land for a child to rise up and begin to speak evil against his elders.
Yeah,
so he said he had dissolved the elders. So that is abomination. We cannot tolerate that. And he is instigating children, little boys that did not even see the war. And they are insulting the elders. And they're bringing curses upon themselves. And their curses are upon these children, may even make these children not live long to become elders in future. He doesn't know what he's doing. That this thing, there are some spiritual principles about this thing. And when you're insulting elders, you think you grow to old age. He doesn't know what he's doing. I think I should stop here.
My brother, I will call you. I will call you back, because I'm going on air now to take on what the professor said.
All right, please.
I will call you back. Thank you so
please
much.
Send me your email.
Thank you so much. I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.